They did it. They did it. We can do that too. We can let people know what we think about them. Not let's go out there and make a good film. Change some people's minds, maybe add some little things in there, make them think about what's going on. No, it's let's go out there and just slap them in the face. Let's go out there and reuse Ghostbusters. Would you use that IP and just get people in the seats, and then we'll just give them what we want? You know, it's good to give people what you want when it's something original. You could give them what you want all the day, all freaking day. Give them what you want. Give them your story the way you want. That's fine. But when you're using another franchise to try to do it, that's disrespectful. That's horrible. Hey, welcome to the premiere episode of Franchise Defenders. I'm your host, Cloud Kicker. Welcome to Franchise Defenders. You have an intro you can roll. This is hot garbage, man. All right. Look, my name's Cloud Kicker, and hey, we're just going to be talking about some movies, talking about adaptations of a film from books or magazines or short stories, and how they end up getting on film, whether they're good, whether they're bad, why they're good and why they're bad. What's the differences between remakes, reboots, adaptations, inspired by? There's a lot of things going on here. I'm no professional. I'm only a film student, but just in my short time, studying this kind of stuff and also being a fan, going through, going going through theaters before this whole thing started, and kind of already seeing that theater and entertainment starting to fall apart, as many of you probably already have, seen the same thing. And maybe this episode will go ahead and identify like where it all began and why it all started falling apart, and future episodes, and we'll go ahead and start breaking down some of these films on why they fell apart. Not just because it's woke or SJW nonsense, but you can slap that sticker on anything and use that as an excuse. But we actually need to sit down and see what they did wrong, what they did good, and what could have been better. I don't know when you all started noticing a lot of this kind of like nonsense and pop culture. Not It kind of like bled over into pop culture, but I think it started in TV shows, and also mainly film. It started in film, and then you started seeing it bleed into TV shows. As I got a chart right here, we'll go through this timeline real quick and see on the films like where things started falling apart. Maybe I'll go ahead and try to do one for the TV shows in the future, but I don't watch all of the TV shows. I've never watched, was it the Batwoman or the new reboot of Doctor Who? So I don't know too much about those. I have heard I've heard quite enough, but we could go ahead and go through some of the TV shows also, if anybody recommends anything like that, and if you decide to enjoy it, give you some different entertainment, because I don't want to regurgitate what a lot of the other channels do that you watch. I probably watch them too, but I just don't want to spit out the same thing that they're doing. We already have. It's better to have a variety of content out there, variety content for myself, and I just want to share my thoughts, kind of like a different take on things, and mainly not. I'm trying not to be all negative, but I do want to point out the things that are bad in it. So mainly I want to identify like things that are bad, because it's kind of heartbreaking when you want to break into the film industry, and then you see you see the way that people are, you see the way that the studios are, and it's very sad, especially when you grew up on movies, and when you kind of like the movies were A lot of people movies are their, where kind of like where they go to recuperate, to relax at the end of the day. Uh, you know, just feel good about things, and that's kind of like where movies help me through a lot of dark times in my life, and now we're seeing like a lot of movies that are coming out very preachy, as what I like to call it, and it takes the fun out. It kind of, it's trying to like make every film into like a fake documentary sort of, because they want to teach you how things are, and that's not how you do entertainment. Um, you could look like at old films, like when you study films and you study even books and stuff, and you want to talk about how you get a message across to somebody, and oh, especially when it comes to art, like what was the artist thinking during this and during that. You look at like Wizard of Oz was very political, but when you watch the movie, when you watch the film, it doesn't come out that way. Yet, because everything is subtext, everything is related to something else, but it's not in your face. It's not slapping you across the face, preaching to you throughout the whole movie. It is until afterwards, if you watch it and you start realizing, oh, some things are similar, but if you're not that kind of person where you don't want to like relate to certain things, you can still watch it for its entertainment. You can still watch it like years later, and it's still very entertaining. And even if you're not aware of all the hidden meanings throughout the whole film, you're not missing out on anything because the story is good and the characters are good, and it's driven by entertainment, driven by characters, and driven by the story and the plot, and that's what makes a good movie. And also that's what makes good art, is when you're able to do that with subtext. You're able, very subtle things that you do in your film and your writing. Same goes with books. It's not slapping somebody across the face. It's not pulling out a bullhorn and blaring your words at them, trying to preach to them, trying to tell them they need to do this and that. Uh, that's not what you want to do. I mean, maybe some people that's do what they want to do, but if you want to make art, that's not how it goes. It doesn't work that way, as people are just going to reject it. Uh, you want more when you have something like that. You want more eyes on your artwork, because you want more people to experience it, and you want more people to feel it and interpret it that the way that they're going to interpret it. Uh, Someone's like yelling at you, to come look at my artwork over here. Come look at my paintings, blah blah blah, and this and that. It's like people don't want to see that, or they don't want to hear it. So certain things that you got to do just to make it entertaining. And after they're entertained, they'll ask themselves questions afterwards, like, oh, I didn't realize this. Oh, this movie was about this. The hero went through this. These things happen. That's what makes a good movie, is when you're able to reflect upon it afterwards, and reflect upon it multiple times, and seeing something new as you watch it over and over again. Even if it's something controversial, you watch it over again to try to understand what's going on. It's not something that you get turned off by it right away. And people make excuses about this all the time. People try to defend some of these movies by making excuses like this, saying, "Oh, you're just in your little bubble," when they're kind of like in their own little bubble. They don't want to take criticism, or they hate to see something that they love criticized. Which everything can be criticized. It's not just crappy stuff. Good stuff can be criticized because everything can be improved just a little bit. Nothing's comes out of Hollywood perfect. Um, this is It's very odd that a lot of these writers and a lot of these actors take criticism very badly. One of the very first lessons I learned in writing, started taking writing workshops many years ago, and they do this exercise. Many do it. A lot of schools will do it. A lot of workshops will do it. It's screenplays, novels. It's called you know you basically like you're writing in a box or a telephone booth, and it's called you're writing in a booth, or you're displaying your work in a booth. There's different phrases for it. Basically, is you're giving your work for peer review. You say you're online, you're posting it on a forum, and you have your work out there, where there's a chapter or a short story or part of a screenplay. You put it up there, and as you know, all in forums, every time somebody criticizes something, you want to defend it right away. Well, one of the first lessons that you're taught in most places is take criticism properly, and that's what the booth is for. It's basically, once you upload it, you can't reply to anything that is said. You can't go and defend anything until after everything is done, because you need to look at what people are pointing out. You need to see the flaws, see it from their point of view, see if there's something that you could have done better. And that way you're getting honest feedback from people. You're not influenced them by when someone says something bad about one character, and then you're quick to try to explain it to them about that character. That kind of messes up the next person that's trying to make a comment, because now they see how defensive you are, or they they're not giving their first impressions now, because they've already taken a little bit of what you were explaining before. You want to get people's first impressions on things, because that's where you're going to get a lot of the honest truth out of things. Not after someone's watched a review on something, or already got some of your notes on something. You really want some fresh eyes on your piece of work, to see exactly what someone is seeing that you may not see. You've written either this screenplay or this manuscript over and over. You've gone through the lines over and over, and in your head, it's constantly going. It's constantly going, where your mind is filling in like these details that you haven't put on paper or you haven't put on the screen, and you're skipping by these because in your head it's automatic. You think that everyone should know what's going on, when in reality you don't. And it's a lot of these criticisms like this that people won't take. Um, they don't. Some people don't understand character development. Some people don't understand plot or structure, or differences between a protagonist and an antagonist. Nowadays, it seems like they they refuse to do it. Like, a lot of people are caught up in fan fiction, and nothing is wrong with fan fiction. That's where I started writing fan fiction, when I used to read the Star Wars novels over and over again, back all the way in the 90s, the extended universe now. And for a time, they stopped putting out new novels, and myself and a friend decided to might as well write our own story. So we began writing our own story. We weren't posting it up online. I'm not sure if that even was a big of a thing back then, but it was just between us two, writing stories, critiquing each other, just having fun with the franchise, trying to see if we could write the next novel or book. It wasn't us trying to insert ourselves into the stories or try to make anything, outlandish. It was actually trying to do a fluid continuation, because both of us were these huge fans of the Star Wars and the novels at that time, that the other one was not going to give any slack. If one of us was going to mess something up, the other one was going to quickly point out that character does not act like that. And that's what I feel like writers and directors and actors should really be paying attention to. They should be paying attention, to the fans' feedback and to source material. But we'll get on into all of that later, and a future episode. I'll go ahead and put some stuff together on that. We'll go ahead and break down different things. Like I said, what we're going to be doing. So, but what I do want to show you today, let's show you this. Now, I didn't get all of the films that have been poorly received, I guess, as of late. I know what you want to call them. You could say, all the woke films, but some of them are woke, some of them are not. I mean, it depends what you classify that is, like I said. But a lot of these films are either continuations of a franchise, or they try at a reboot at a franchise, and they're all failed or all badly received. So I just want to show you this timeline to see what the commonality is and where it stemmed from, and then we'll go ahead and another episode. We'll go ahead and take a deeper dive into that and see what you think about it. So let's see, like what we have right here is my destruction of a franchise timeline. We'll go back all the way to what is this 1975. All right, so Charlie's Angels 1976 to 1981. Of course, we got Star Wars New Hope in 77, Empire Strikes Back, the whole Star Wars franchises. Ghostbusters comes up in 84 with Terminator. You see Ghostbusters 2 moving along with Terminator. Men in Black come up. Charlie's Angels 2000. This was the first reboot. So this is how it can be done proper. Because Charlie's Angels, the reboot in 2000 with Barrymore, Lucy Liu, and Cameron Diaz. It was received, on the most part, like it was well received. A lot of people really enjoyed it. It made money. And even the second film was, entertaining. It wasn't of course, the greatest thing ever, but it was entertaining just as what the TV show was, and it felt authentic. So we can go into a future episode. We can dive down into why that worked, and as we go up, why the other one, didn't work. But we also see, the Terminator timeline going from here all the way up to the Sarah Connor Chronicles, which was actually pretty good. A lot of people loved it, and a lot of people wondered why it stopped. I don't know. We got the Hangover, Neighbors, Ant-Man, and Suicide Squad. This is just a couple things. let me show you a little bit more. So we look at Neighbors. Neighbors was the first one that really stuck out to me. When I saw Neighbors, to me this is where everything started. Even though Star Wars Force Awakens, see, first year before, in 2015, The Force Awakens. Some people say it's woke, some people say it's not. I don't think it is. There was no preachy in it. I mean, you kind of like see some of the things that they wanted to do, but it wasn't preachy, and they were trying to market it as preachy. In my opinion, it wasn't. Yes, Ray was Mary Sue in it. Yes, everything was handed to her, but outside, it it wasn't woke. It was the kind of like the beginning or to me what inspired everything else to like just go downhill from there. So we'll dive more into that and some of the things that I heard on behind the scenes on The Force Awakens and some of the changes that were made that I really haven't heard anyone really cover. So I'm a huge Star Wars. Or I was. I don't know if I am or if I was anymore. It's it's a love hate. It's a love hate. When something that dear to you just falls apart, you have faith, but you have faith it's not going to work out. Also, for some reason, oh man, we're gonna have some fun going through all of these films, especially all the Star Wars films. What I'd really like to do once we go through I also have some issues with the prequels. I have some big issues with the prequels, being a huge Star Wars fan of the originals and the EU or extended universe or legacy or whatever Disney's calling them nowadays. But I definitely want to go through those eventually, and really want to go through the sequels. And I'd like, if you think it's entertaining, on how we can actually redo some of these films and remake some of these films with how they could have done how they could have been remade properly. So I think that would be a lot of fun. Hopefully you'll think it's a lot of fun. Let me know if you like something like that. I loved going through Force Awakens. seeing the things that they messed up, seeing things how they could have done it properly, and not changing the whole story. It's easy to say, oh, blow it away and just do no whole story. What we'll end up trying to do on some of these things was basically just reconstruct the story, see what they were trying to do, and make it in a way that they're doing it properly. They're not preaching. They're not uh, destroying the source material. They're paying the proper respect. They're keeping things consistent in whatever world or whatever franchise that it is. So that's going to be a lot of fun. There's a couple films here that I'd like to do for that. Man, I've been talking to you like this, and now that I'm looking at the chart, it's like right here up against my face. Hey, this is the premiere episode. We're still working things out. Pay no mind. We're still working things out on this, so it's all a learning experience. All right. But so the Force Awakens 2015, we see Neighbors was 2014, and then right there 2016 we see Neighbors 2. Now, if you don't remember, Neighbors 2 was the original one had Seth Rogen, and oh man, I can't remember that actress's name, and of course it had Zac Efron and the other guy from Pitch Perfect, and it was a fun film. It was a very fun film. And then when the Neighbors 2 came out, I was I was ready for it. Especially because they had, was it Chloe Chloe Grace Chloe Mortz? Yeah, yeah. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. Well, I'll have to look that up. But of course, she's coming off of the Kick-Ass films. Those she was a little bit younger. Now she's playing a college sorority sister. That's why it's called Sorority Rising. But that film was the first one that I went to where I felt like walking out of the theater. and and it was weird because it was nothing with the comedy pieces of the film. It was the preachiness into it, and I felt like every 10 minutes I'm gonna have to watch this film again because I swear I felt like every 10 minutes there is some kind of comment saying if we were boys this wouldn't happen, or they wouldn't react like this if we were boys, or they would treat us differently if we were the guys. And just those little things removed from this film would have made it so much better. But I felt like I was being preached through a whole freaking comedy, and it was horrible. I, I hated it. I was like, oh, why are you doing this to me? Why am I sitting through this thing? Is it ever gonna stop? It's, it's like sitting in a theater and yeah, I'm sitting in the theater and yeah, basically like that. It's someone's beating me on the head with a dead fish. Oh, with a dead fish, beat someone on the head with a live fish. Yeah, it was stupid. then look what we get. Like, was it later that year? The Ghostbusters, the reboot, and oh man, that film. I was excited when that film came out. I was like, oh, you know, uh, I'm a fan of like a lot of those actresses that were on there. I was like, oh, this is gonna be funny. This is gonna be good. No, no, it was sad. It was very heartbreaking. And I was like, why? I mean, this is like I thought that's the one that a lot of people, when that happened, I think a lot of people saw it. I don't think a lot of people saw it when the neighbors came out. They really didn't pay too much attention. It just didn't do that well. It just kind of like slipped by. Like watch it again. It's like it's nonsensical stuff that could have just been taken out, and it could have made the movie so much better, so much more understandable. Because throughout that movie, you just weren't feeling for some of those characters. But we see Ghostbusters there, of course, Last Jedi, Ant-Man and the Wasp. We see that after Ant-Man was what 3 years before. Doctor Who started that same year, and then the solo, the Star Wars story. When Rogue Squadron was what 2016, so they really didn't get full blown until 2018. Yeah, 7, 8. Yeah, 2018. So I see 2015 was like right when it started, when things just started going away, and people were like, "Oh, they did it. They did it. We can do that too. We can let people know what we think about them. Not let's go out there and make a good film. Change some people's minds, maybe add some little things in there, make them think about what's going on. No, it's let's go out there and just slap them in the face. Let's go out there and reuse Ghostbusters. Would you use that IP and just get people in the seats, and then we'll just give them what we want? You know, it's good to give people what you want when it's something original. You could give them what you want all the day, all freaking day. Give them what you want. Give them your story the way you want. That's fine. But when you're using another franchise to try to do it, that's disrespectful. That's horrible. You know, I don't know why these people do things like this. You know, so let's take a look at LC. You see, 2019. 2019 was a banner year. It was a banner. We're not talking about Bruce Banner. It was well, it got smashed. It got smashed by destruction of franchises that year. Men in Black, Charlie's Angels, Rise of Skywalker, Captain Marvel, and Terminator Dark Fate. Sorry, it was hard to say those things. I don't know if the mic was picking up me going over those titles, but that was 2019 was not a good year. No, of course, Birds of Prey in 2020, but that was also a big disappointment. Was it The Force Awakens that started all of this, or inspired people to start making films like these, or was it Neighbors 2? Sorority Rising. Do you even count that? Like, has anybody seen that recently? Like, what do you think about the Neighbors 2? I haven't seen it in a while. Maybe I'm remembering things wrong, and maybe I need to go watch it again, give it another shot. But I just remember in the theater, I was not having a good time with that. It was not coming out right. And then when Ghostbusters came out again, I was like, oh, okay, I see the trend. I see the trend. But so, what do you think about these? About my franchise destruction timeline right here? Do you think it all started from The Force Awakens, Neighbors 2, Ghostbusters, or maybe there was something else in TV or another film, especially if there was another film that you saw that went from one way in a franchise completely to another. I may have missed it. I may have not even watched it or paid much attention to that franchise. So, I like watching a lot of movies, but I don't watch everything. So there's a lot of stuff I haven't seen. So odd result. When I look at this, I was going to the theater almost every weekend until that 2019. I think that 2019 year when everything just went to hell. I think that's when I stopped going to the theater every week. Before, I used to go to the theater every weekend, watch whatever new was out. If something was a new out, I'd probably watch something again. But it was just some nice entertainment. Get away, get out. I enjoy the theater atmosphere. It's just fun, you know. So before we finish it off, I want to look at something real quick. It's very interesting on this timeline. So you probably were wondering, why is the Hangover on there? The Hangover really didn't get woke, did it? No, no, I didn't. It was still entertaining all the way through. 1, 2, and 3. Well, I wanted to show you this, and maybe we'll go over this in another episode if you'd like to go over this. You see this right here? Hangover came out 2009. Everybody loved it. Great comedy. Part 2 came out 2011. You know what else came out in 2011? Bridesmaids. And you're like, well, that's not a sequel or anything. This is heavily I think this is heavily inspired by The Hangover. They saw The Hangover and they saw these guys at a bachelor party going crazy. A lot of people loved it. And someone had the bright idea. You know, it came out at the same time as this, but that's enough time seeing something like that. Come up with a quick idea, pitch it to the studio, start filming. I mean, it's comedy. You don't have crazy sets or anything like that. It can be done. It can be done quickly, especially if someone's writing the script pretty good, doing it fast. A lot of people, actors, actresses, ready to jump on a film like that. And my opinion, I enjoyed Bridesmaids. Bridesmaids was good. I saw nothing wrong with it. It was just a bunch of women, making a fool of themselves, just like The Hangover. They weren't really, you know, destroying any other characters. They weren't downplaying things. They weren't humiliating people outside of themselves. It was all just them humiliating themselves. and it was a good movie. A lot of people loved it. Got great reviews. And here's the thing. Let me look at my notes right here. Hold on, I got it. Where is it? Oh, you know who it was directed by? Paul Feig. Wait, Paul Feig? The guy from Ghostbusters, Answer the Call? He directed Bridesmaids. And it was written by Annie Mumolo and Kristen Wiig. Whoa, Kristen Wiig from Ghostbusters? So these people can make a good film with female leads and a female story, but they choose not to. So you see, this is stuff that they do is deliberate. They have to be aware of this stuff because you see how before The Force Awakens, I think that's where it started, The Force Awakens. So it's going to be before The Force Awakens or before Made Neighbors 2. We'll see what everybody thinks when this scale gets tipped over. See, even them before that time, they were able to write a good film. They were able to write a good film that didn't bash anyone, that made fun of the proper people, that respected the proper people. They developed characters properly. And why? You're not supposed to decline in your skills. You're not an athlete. You're only supposed to get better in entertainment from experience. You're not supposed to start going downhill. Painful. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, that's what this channel is gonna be about. We're gonna be going over these things. All right. So let's have some fun. Let's go over to some stuff. But hey, no. One more thing. So before you leave, I want to tell you I do got some news on 21 Jump Street franchise. We'll probably do a whole video on that one. On how that went franchise. But aside from that, there is new news with it. It's not really new news, but it's news that I saw nobody cover. Maybe just no one really paid attention to it. So we'll go through that. So the big one I want to talk about is Batgirl. Yeah, yeah. From yeah, yeah, HBO, yeah, HBO Max. Yeah, one of them two. So yeah, either HBO or HBO Max is HBO movie, so it's probably gonna be on both. But I didn't even know this was going on. I didn't even know they had casting already for some of the roles. But this was just announced a couple of days ago. Hmm, interesting. I got some iffy stuff in it. Got some iffy stuff. We're gonna talk about it. So have some fun with this. They're got the directors, dual directors, which I like seeing. I like seeing two directors on stuff sometimes. These two guys, just a quick rundown. It looks like they're both born in Belgium, and they went to film school together, and pretty much everything they've done since then they've done together. A lot of short stories or short stories, short films, a lot of short films, and some foreign films together. So there are some short films. I'm going to see if I can find them because I want to see their stuff. I've already read some things that some negative reviews on these characters. Characters. I guess directors. I guess directors are characters. Pretty much everybody in Hollywood's a character, right? Yeah, but there's one thing. I don't know if it's really a bad thing about them. So, but it's just like the type of work that they like to do. Basically, from what I've seen quickly, is they use a lot of stereotypes in the, um, I guess, drug genre. I know that crime, drug genre. A lot of their short films and films all seem to have some kind of like a drug background, like a crime and drug background, where there's people abusing things, where there's gangs, things like that. Which, hey, if that's their niche, that's what they like to write, you know. Uh, so I want to see what take a look at some of their short films before we do the video. So I really want to do this video tomorrow on Batgirl, but I want to see some information. Since I saw one of the short films is only like 20 minutes long. Maybe one of the other ones is about that long. So I want to see if I can find that either tonight or tomorrow morning. Watch it, see if there's anything crazy about it. See what these people, these reviewers, whatever on IMDb that saw their short films, like why they hated it, whatever. Because from a lot of the still shots that I saw, it looked good. Yeah, I didn't see anything wrong with it. So, but we'll see how it is. Maybe it could just be people whining because they didn't like being misrepresented in a negative light. My opinion is, hey, stereotypes are stereotypes for a reason because that's how life is. Hey, that's how it is. I've been stereotyped many times in the past. I can't get mad at people for it. All I say is like, hey, I understand. You know, yeah, hate to see that, but yeah, it's there for a reason. You can't. I mean, can you blame people for having stereotypes of certain things? And if you're building characters, you're gonna build characters off of stereotypes, especially if you didn't live that life. Yeah, I doubt these two guys were like drug dealers or crime lords and stuff. So yeah, they're gonna use stereotypes. So we'll see whether how these guys are suited for it. So I have hope. I have my hopes. There's some other things about this Batgirl that I have questions on. That some of the casting is questionable, but as of right now, since there's nothing in the media, so that's kind of good. But hey, there's a lot of social media time between now and when the film releases to see whether it blows up or not. And I'm not talking about blowing up in a good way. I'm talking about blowing up in a bad way. No, dude, no, no. I get it can blow up that way, I guess. But hey, so hey, I hope you enjoyed yourself. Hey man, we've been going on for a little while. Let's let's move on to the next one. See ya. Oh, if you're still here, I guess I'm supposed to tell you to hit the like button and the subscribe bell, or not the subscribe bell, the subscribe button. Man, you if you hit that bell and them notifications go off, I don't know one person that likes notifications, man. I'm just gonna be honest. It's like I don't want that spam stuff hitting in my mailbox every time a video comes out. You're crazy. Nah. Just hit the subscribe, man. If you've got YouTube up, you're gonna see the little blue dots next to the subscribers on the left hand of your YouTube when you go into your subscriber. You know when someone's got a new video out. All right. Hey, hey, I'm not gonna lead you astray. Try to mess you up by telling you hit that ring, that ring button. That ring button will fuck you up. You hit that little alarm wherever. Is that up there? I think it's down here. Yeah, you hit that thing is gonna fuck up your mailbox. I tell you what, I did that one time. Ooh, no, unless there's something I'm doing wrong, but yeah, I had to take them things off. That like it about crashed Google when I hit subscribe and hit that bell. Stuff. Yeah, that was probably one of them days like where Google was down and YouTube was down for like a day because yeah, I hit that button. I think I tipped everything over. Yeah, don't be hitting bells, man. All right, man. We'll see y'all later. Peace.